Jake, do we want to go? Jake, do we want to go to gallery view for this beginning or not?
Hello.
Okay, everybody. If you could hear me right, can you just give me a thumbs up? Okay, thank you, everyone. So my name is Ilana Haviv, and I'm the co-chair of Human Rights Educators USA, along with Christy Redelius Palmer. And we are so happy to have you with us today for our Human Rights Day, as we celebrate and reflect on the UDHR, which was proclaimed by the United Nations General Assembly in Paris on December 10th, 1948. So quite some time ago. I want to take a moment to thank the Center for Transformative Action and the Puffin Foundation. So these organizations have enabled us to work collectively for human rights and justice by expanding human rights learning. So it's fantastic to have them as our base as we move forward. And I want to do something a little bit unusual. Possibly, I want to just acknowledge the elephant that's in the room with us today. There are so many here today who have been questioning how can we celebrate human rights, and specifically the 75th anniversary of the Declaration of Human Rights, at a time where horrific human rights violations are occurring throughout the world. And I know that that's been a balance for so many of us. And I just wanted to share a personal reflection that in these moments, it's especially important to remember our roles as human rights educators and human rights activists. I mean, especially now, and to support each other by recognizing the impact, the light, and the ripples of effects of our work and how it carries throughout the world. So I just wanted us, if we can, to take a moment and disconnect to each other and build our strength together, and also in acknowledgement of what's happening around the world in real time. I think we have somebody has an audio. Thank you. So on that note, for the next hour, my co-MC and I, who is the Executive Committee member, Vice Chair Elizabeth Schwab, and I will have the honor of introducing you to extraordinary individuals who are creating incredible impact in their communities. And I want to just start right ahead, move on ahead for the presentation of our O'Brien Award. So the HRE USA O'Brien Award was established in 2015 in memory of Ed O'Brien, who was a pioneer human rights educator and a very valued member of ours at HRE USA. And the O'Brien Individual Award honors the outstanding contribution of human rights education in the United States. So here to introduce you to the 2023 O'Brien awardee is Susan Katz, who was last year's award winner. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you, Ilana, and happy Human Rights Education Day to everyone here. I really appreciate Ilana's reflection that this is a very trying time, particularly in terms of human rights. But I am here, I'm very deeply honored to be in the same company as Professor Alex Redcorn, who has received the 2023 O'Brien Award for Human Rights Education. Professor Redcorn is a citizen of the Osage Nation of Oklahoma and Assistant Director of Educational Leadership at Kansas State University. A former social studies teacher, his passion for revitalizing Native American culture and language resonates throughout all aspects of his practice and his being. As one of his nominators from the National Association of Education commented, quote, he brings together communities to learn and urges educators to move beyond land acknowledgements to taking action, end quote. I want to note that this is the second award that Dr. Redcorn has won this year for his work in Indigenous education. Just this past summer, the National Association of Education recognized him with the prestigious Human and Civil Rights Award, the Wilma Mankiller Memorial Award. So this is quite a year. Besides teaching at Kansas State, Dr. Redcorn serves as executive director of the Kansas Association for Native American Education. He collaboratively created the Osage Nation Educational Leadership Academy and serves as chair of the newly minted Kansas Advisory Council for Indigenous Education Working Group. He's also created the Indigenous Educational Leadership Graduate Certificate at Kansas State, which is now in its second cohort. So it is my great pleasure to introduce to you all here today, Dr. Alex Redcorn.
Thank you very much. And I really appreciate the honor here. I want to express my appreciation and gratitude to HRE and all the folks who have got this whole event together. And really, it's incredible when you get a surprise phone call on a Sunday morning from a California number, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be a scam, but I'm going to answer it anyway. And then all of a sudden, I'm winning an award, and so I appreciate that, and I appreciate the time and effort. And what's really humbling is how much time and effort that goes into putting these things together, and it's all happening behind the scenes without my knowledge. And then all of a sudden, happy Sunday morning, and then it's time to watch football. And so, what a great day! But I just appreciate the time. I appreciate the effort, and I also want to appreciate when somebody attaches an award like this to somebody else's legacy and somebody else's honor. So, for example, you mentioned the Wilma Mankiller Award and now the O'Brien Award. I don't take that lightly, that you're carrying somebody's legacy forward. And so for somebody to put that trust in me, I really just appreciate it. And I can't express that enough. And so I don't take up everybody else's time. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide. So I'll keep this moving. But so in Osage, you call that Wewina. You say Wewina. It's a thank you. It's a deep gratitude form of thank you. There's different ways of thanking people, and this is kind of a deeper form of that thank you. And so I say Wewina to all those people who put that effort in, and the legacy of O'Brien as well. And so, and we can go to the next slide. Another thing that I wanted to kind of talk about, because I feel like I'm supposed to say something compelling after winning an award like this. So here's my best shot at it. But there's another Osage concept called Washkan. And when you hear Osage elders talk about Washkan, it's about doing your best with what you have. So a maximum effort kind of a term, but it's more than that. It's also about being part of a community and contributing to that community and doing your part for that community. So Washkan is going out and voting. Washkan is going out and being there for somebody when they need it. Washkan is taking a problem and trying to better the community around you with whatever you have available to you, even if it's not much. And so I put this picture up here. That's Dr. Cornell Peabyworthy. He was one of my mentors in the academy, and he's been a mentor of mine, and now he's teaching with our new certificate program. But he showed me how to do this through educational systems and through the systems of education. And so even though he's not Osage, he's Comanche, his mentorship and that relationship and what he embedded in my way of thinking and approach to this work is really important. And that's part of this legacy as well. We go to the next slide. So when I talk about these things, I often emphasize that it's systems thinking. And so I come from a ed leadership kind of context. And really, when you're talking about leadership, it's talking about systems. And so I like to emphasize the idea that our native nations are often not in the conversation. And our systems of education aren't actually lined up to help native nations. They're lined up for the priorities of Eurocentrism. They're lined up for the priorities of the state and federal governments, and bringing native nations into that conversation is a lot of what I do, and trying to line up those systems so we can help tribal nations liberate their sovereign potential. Next slide. And when we do this, I also like to emphasize that we have systems, and we're not just thinking of systems as like people systems, org theory type conversations. I prefer to think of them more along the lines of ecosystems of people, ecosystems of relationships, ecosystems of knowledge, where knowledge and energy moves through the ecosystem. And if we can think about things like setting the prairie on fire, which stimulates growth cycles and learning, our organizations and the people within those organizations can engage in critical thinking and in effect set the prairie on fire. So I'm from the center of the country. There's a lot of prairie over here, and there's a lot of prairie fires at certain times of the year. But what I want people to think about, not for the kind of violent nature of setting the prairie on fire, but the growth. When you set the prairie on fire, it's a moment of recycling, regrowth. If we go to the next slide, so when we think about our systems as ecosystems, their systems are built by people, so systems are run by people. And if we can simply engage in critical thinking and spread that critical thinking, you can engage in new growth cycles, and we can grow and share new ideas, and we can cultivate conditions for systemic change. And so systemic change can happen, and it won't necessarily happen quickly all the time. But if we keep our eye on that long game and we really think about how we can do this work, we can patiently and respectfully work with our other people and our colleagues, our peers in these systems to move these things forward. And so I guess that's the compelling thing that I'm sharing with you today. And wave and nod again, and I really appreciate everything that everybody in this room has done for me today. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Redcorn, for those lovely remarks. And also thank you to Susan for the very nice introduction. Next, we are going to transition into our Lifetime Achievement Award. This honors an individual who has a deep devotion, deep commitment, and years of service to human rights education in the USA. This year's awardee is Bill Fernikes, who will be introduced by David Shyman, a regional rep, various committee member, and also a previous winner of this award in 2019. So, David.
Thank you very much. When I was asked to introduce Bill, I was told initially you have 1 minute. And I said, no. Someone with 22-page resume and 50 years of service deserves more than a 1-minute introduction. Bill's authored and edited 5 books, 9 book reviews, 70 journal articles and essays on human rights and Holocaust and children's rights and social studies. He also was co-creator of The 4th R, the first human rights educator publication of Amnesty International, which was published in the 1980s. And he's now the host of his creation, Human Rights Education Now, a podcast series with 20 interviews with human rights educators and activists. Bill helps others to grow, not just as a teacher, but as an advocate and as a lobbyist for human rights education at the state and national policy levels. As a thorough editor of others' work, and I can attest to that, as he's edited my work. As a founder of action organizations, such as HRE USA and Amnesty's National Steering Committee on Human Rights. As a curriculum developer in New Jersey, where he's worked with teachers to help teachers to write human rights curriculum so that they too can become human rights educators. And as I mentioned, as a podcaster, he's also been a consultant to the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum and a committee member and leader for the National Council of the Social Studies and Human Rights Educators USA. He does the work, he does it thoroughly, and he does it well. He includes others, he nurtures their development, and advocates for their success. He's my friend and my colleague, and I'm proud to have this opportunity to introduce him. And I want to mention one other item on his resume that probably doesn't get the publicity it should get. It reads, Instructor, Senior Citizens Music Appreciation Program, Hunterdon County Office of Aging, 1990 to the present. So maybe Bill can introduce us to some music in his presentation here today. So I will turn us over to my colleague and friend, Bill Fernikes.
Oh, Bill,
Something go wrong?
I think
I'm not sure he's on the Zoom.
oh, he is. I'm just trying to ask to unmute. I'm trying to unmute him.
I'm not muted anymore.
Okay, good. Please
Are you
go
good?
ahead. Thanks. Yes, we're all good.
I'll start over. I just want to say what a great honor it is to be recognized by your peers. And before I go any further, I want to thank John Terry from New Jersey and Mary Curran from Rutgers University, because I know they were two people who put my name forth. And of course, David Scheinman, not only my friend and colleague, but a tremendous leader in human rights education who gave that introduction. So let me just say this, and then we'll go to the slides. Receiving the Lifetime Achievement Award is not only an honor, but a recognition of the work that so many of you do every day as human rights educators. When I began work as a public school teacher in 1974, the idea of promoting and teaching about human rights was not even on my radar. Indeed, there were few of any classes or programs where you could study human rights outside of law school. My entry point into human rights education came through my work on Holocaust and genocide education, and was strengthened by my work with the Holocaust Memorial Museum in Washington and wonderful scholar practitioners such as Bill Parsons and Sam Tott. In the late 1980s, I had the great good fortune of beginning a high school chapter of Amnesty International at 100 Central in Flemington, New Jersey. And through that work, I connected with many of our nation's pioneering HRE leaders, David Scheinman, Nancy Flowers, Cosette Thompson, Christy Rodelius Palmer, Beverly Edmonds, and others. Working with my colleagues at 100 Central in New Jersey, across the nation, as well as internationally on human rights educator issues has been the joy of my life. Sorry about that phone call. And I can only hope that each of you has a comparable experience enriching your professional life. But none of this would have been possible without the love and support of my wife, Sheila, who has been with me every step of the way, helping me overcome challenges and disappointments while celebrating our achievements. So working in human rights education requires patience, perseverance, creativity, and remaining true to a vision of the world where all people are treated with dignity and respect, and are able to realize their dreams without fear of violence or cruelty. Remaining committed to that vision can be difficult, but if we work collectively to improve the quality of life for others, then we can truly say we are living by the ideals articulated in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So now let's turn to the slides, and I'll just show you some inspiring images. First one is my wife, Sheila, and myself in Ireland, and that simply is because she is my rock and greatest source of strength, and whatever I've accomplished is direct result of her love and support for the last 47 years. Now, Nancy Flowers, of course, has had a legendary career in human rights education, and she really represents so many people who are on this program today. But she's been a tremendous inspiration to me and many others. Next. Historically, there are people I've read about and studied who I think really set the standard high for what we should be doing. One of them was Ida B. Wells. She challenged lynching as a courageous journalist and set an example to eradicate the scourge in American society. She put her own life at risk by publishing her publications about it. And then the great athlete, singer, and actor, but human rights activist Paul Robeson, another graduate of Rutgers like myself, who fought to create a better and more just society, and in the process suffered tremendous negative results from the government's censorship. But he never abandoned his principles. Next. Varian Fry, a very interesting person, a journalist who had no experience in undercover work. He went to Vichy, France, helped rescue over 1,000 artists, intellectuals, and others targeted by the Nazis. He was long forgotten, but he's an example of an ordinary citizen who viewed his commitment to helping others as more important than himself. And Raphael Kubelik, about whom I'm working on a book right now, a famous conductor and composer. He left the Czech Republic, at that time Czechoslovakia, in 1948, and would not return until his country became democratic. That occurred 42 years later in 1990, and here Kubelik is conducting an outdoor concert in Prague to overwhelming acclaim on the day of the first free election in the country in 42 years. He said, "No man is truly free unless he has a clear conscience." Last slide. Clifford P. Case, Clifford P. Case was a senator who served in the Congress for 33 years, 8 in the House and 24 in the Senate. He was a champion of civil and human rights, and his first speech in Congress denounced the racist remarks of Southern segregationist John Rankin, who had attacked the loyalty of African-American soldiers and the views of Supreme Court Justice Felix Frankfurter, who was a Jewish German immigrant to the U.S. For all his years in the Congress, Case prioritized country over party. He defined politics as encouraging our good instincts, restraining the bad ones, and doing our best to help the most vulnerable in society. These people have inspired me, and I hope they will inspire you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Bill. And especially thank you for you only had 5 minutes, and for taking the majority of that time to introduce us to those who came before you and to your peers who we should all know and know the work of. So truly, that was really special. Thank you so very much. And we are going to transition into a new award that I am so excited to share with you. And that is the Youth Impact Award, which was spearheaded by our Nancy Flowers. Thank you, Nancy, so very much. And it was an incredible experience to review all the applications from teens across the US who are creating incredible human rights projects in their communities. And if you know me, you know that that's like a real special part of my heart, especially to recognize youth and their great work as they grow into this community we've created. And I had the chance to interview these applicants alongside Meredith Hood. And Meredith is a former Edmonds Fellow. And I'm going to pass the mic over to her to tell you a little bit more about this award.
Thank you. So we established the Youth in Action for Human Rights Awards to encourage a new generation of human rights activists. And these awards recognize high school age youth who defend, advocate, and raise awareness about human rights in the US. 2 awards are made annually, one to an individual, or in the case of this year, 2 individuals, and one to a group whose work reflects and promotes human rights values. And the theme for this inaugural year is promoting democracy, protecting human rights. And our first winner of the individual award is Reem Camille Kerja. She is a student at Iowa City West High School in Iowa City, Iowa. She led a 4-year-long campaign to encourage the Iowa City Community School District to observe 2 of the holiest Muslim holidays in the school calendar. She was successful. Following her efforts, other students who were inspired by her work came forward to encourage inclusion of other cultural and religious holidays previously not recognized as well. These include the Lunar New Year and Yom Kippur. And Reem did not stop here. Her and one of her peers created the West Student Fund, which offers financial aid to students who could not otherwise afford to participate in her school's extracurricular activities. And our second winner of the individual award is Clementine Cause. She is a senior at Palisades Charter High School in Pacific Palisades, California. She has been an active member of the Human Rights Watch Student Task Force throughout her 4 years of high school. Sorry about that. I have a needy dog in the background. She is most passionate about the climate crisis. She has organized protests, school-wide letter writing campaigns. She launched a youth human rights podcast, and she headed the Pali Clean Energy Task Force. She is responsible for the Los Angeles Unified School District's first ever student resolution, which committed her high school to 100% renewable energy. And now I think that we have 2 short videos to learn more about our 2 individual winners.
My name is Clementine Koss, and I'm one of the recipients of this year's Youth in Action for Human Rights Award, given by Human Rights Educators USA. In 9th grade year, I joined this organization called Human Rights Watch Student Task Force. And that's when my human rights advocacy work really began, and mostly my climate advocacy work, I'd say. And so basically that was around the time when we were trying to transition our school to 100% renewable energy through the addition of solar panels. So I kind of joined in the midst of it being drafted, the proposal being drafted, and then it was kind of our role as young people to go to the board, and we gave public comments and really emphasized how important this was to us and can be an activist. I think that sometimes people think that, you need to be doing this crazy things, but I think it really starts small, baby steps, right? Starting to educate yourself and starting to have conversations with the people in your circle.
Hello, my name is Reem Kurja, and I am one of this year's recipients of the Youth in Action for Human Rights Award given by Human Rights Educators USA. Growing up, my parents emphasized the quote, "Instead of me, think we." So I've always been interested in the topic of equity and overall community enrichment. Because of the mindset that my parents instilled in me, I started the No School on Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha campaign at 10 years old, which was to advocate for no school and no work days for the Iowa City Community School District on the two holiest Muslim holidays. It was about a 4-year effort, and the Change.org petition that I created, which garnered around 7,000 supporters, was effective in pushing the ICCSD to unanimously vote to enact a no school and no work day for both Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha on April 13, 2021. I've learned that persistence is key. You always have to continue and strive to better your community for the future. You also have to make sure that you're patient enough to go through the challenges, and you have to make sure that you learn as you go through the process in order to overcome those challenges that may come again in the future.
And congratulations again to Reem and Clementine. And now I will introduce our winners of the group award. They are the Kittatinny Regional High School Holocaust and Genocide Research Center, located in Kittatinny, New Jersey. Students in Mary Huftelling's English class were inspired by their study of Elie Wiesel's autobiography, Night. They yearned to learn more and to educate others in their community, and thus the center was born. The center has been set up in a space adjacent to their school library and features a catalog of books, films, and other resources. The center also features a wall of hope where visitors can leave encouraging messages, and the center holds exhibits by local artists, including a Holocaust survivor. The center regularly runs fundraisers to give back to their community and has a Take What You Need corner where students can access school supplies, food, and personal care products free of charge. And we have a video featuring them as well.
We had some lovely music, but this is our center here at the school that is entirely student created, with some former students who've produced some artwork for us. We've had all kinds of nice displays, different portraits to represent different genocides. We had some artwork donated to us from a survivor, and this is what you're seeing here. We decided to do a replica of the shoes because we think that they're so very powerful. We are the shoes, we are the last witnesses. This is our world map with drop points of where genocide has occurred. We have some ceiling tiles painted, Armenia. We have a wall of hope here where people can leave inspiring messages. We want it to be a place of empowerment where people leave here and they feel like they can really be the change that we are advocating for. This here is our we adopted 2 survivors, and we have their stories in a timeline format on the wall painted by students. And again, this is our center, and we are so very appreciative to have received this award.
Thank you so much, Mary. I also just want to give some time to Clementine and Reem to briefly say thank you, or if they wanted to add anything.
I can start. First of all, I want to thank everyone for being here and all of the awardees. And thank you to Human Rights Educators USA for doing this. I think it is such an honor to be one of the recipients of the Youth in Action for Human Rights Award. This recognition means the absolute world to me, and I just want to express my deepest gratitude to the incredible individuals who have supported and empowered me throughout this journey. Human rights are not just principles, they're heartbeat of our shared humanity. I'm inspired of the tireless efforts of those who advocate for justice, equality, and dignity for all. This award is a testament to the collective power we hold to make a positive impact. Thank you for acknowledging the importance of youth engagement in shaping a more just and compassionate world. So just thank you so much. I am very grateful to be here and to have had this opportunity.
I guess I can go next. So first of all, I want to start off by saying thank you to everyone who made it here, and thank you to all of your support. As a youth member and as an activist in my community, support is so important. It's what thrives our work. It's what pushes it forward, and it's what makes our future so bright. So thank you to everyone who's here, and thank you to everyone who has supported a youth in your community or who has worked with them to better their community. I also wanted to thank HRE USA for this amazing award. I definitely was not expecting it. So I think it's just wonderful to be here today and wonderful to have received this. And I hope to continue seeing your work in the future. And I'm excited to see how you all grow. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Also just want to give a quick shout out to Emma Tolliver, who created all of these videos and did such an amazing job doing so. So now I'm going to pass it to Christina.
Thank you. Congratulations. I am Christine Eberbach, and in addition to being a member of HRE USA's executive committee, I am co-chair along with Sandra Sirota, who's on the call, of the University and College Consortium for Human Rights Education, or otherwise known as UCC HRE. And we are a network of members of university and college communities globally engaged in human rights education. Our mission is to further human rights learning, research, policy, and practice within and across university and college communities through collaboration. The first international award in human rights education, UCC HRE's Human Rights in Higher Education Award, recognizes an individual, organization, initiative, or publication for its outstanding contributions to human rights education and aims to promote work that embodies human rights principles and practices. We are delighted to announce that this year's recipient is Dr. Anya Mir. She is a PhD in political scientist, consultant, senior lecturer, writer, and researcher for international human rights law, governance, public policy, and transitional justice and transitology, focusing on Eurasia. She is the founder and program director of the Center on Governance through Human Rights at the Berlin Governance Platform in Berlin, Germany. In 2023, she launched the Central Asia Regional Masters in Liberal Arts Program for Human Rights and Sustainability. She teaches international human rights law, transitional justice, and transitology, public policy, democracy theories, and local governance with an interdisciplinary approach to international and domestic politics. She's also made many other notable contributions to the field, so many that I can't enumerate all of them in the time allocated. So I will end here, and I'll include a link in the chat to learn more about her wonderful work. So I'll include by just extending my congratulations to her, and I will turn it over to share a few remarks.
Thank you very much, Christina, and also thank you for having me from the other side of the Atlantic, and actually I work also at the other side of the world, from where you are based. I'm deeply honored, and it really caught me by surprise, but I know I see some people here again that I met 20 years ago or 25 years ago when I started working in human rights education. And as so many of you, I have started with Amnesty International Germany. I was at some stage the chair of Amnesty International Germany and introduced human rights education in the portfolio of its work, and later also was a co-writer of the international strategy of Amnesty International on human rights education. And this is a little bit how it started over 20 years ago. And then I moved on, and I also want to say hello here to my colleagues from the Global Campus of Human Rights in Venice. Some of them are joining here, where I started some 20 years ago to run the European Master Program for Human Rights and Democratization. And that really paved the way to do more in human rights and higher education, and probably led to this award. And thanks at this stage also to Felisa Tippett. I know, Felisa, you nominated me, and I'm deeply, deeply grateful for that. Very nice surprise. But I also want to say sort of a particular joining others say it here about Nancy Flowers, because we haven't seen each other for many years, but I remember you were one of the first colleagues in this field that inspired me very, very much at that time, still when I was working with Amnesty International. So yes, Christian, you highlighted why I probably received this award. I have published a number, or I have created a number of human rights education programs on the university levels. Also have created one here in Germany, an online master program some years ago at the University of Tirana in Albania. And most recently, and I'm wondering whether someone could show the slide, actually, I had prepared a slide from the master program in Central Asia. I don't know if anybody can pull this up. Where this is the recent endeavor, and this is what you just mentioned. The past 5 years, I was working at the OSCE, the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, Academy in Central Asia, in Bishkek in Kyrgyzstan, which is sort of south of Russia and next to China, north of Afghanistan. So in a spot in Eurasia where some would call it a white spot, where very, very little is done in human rights education. And thanks to the support of the Global Campus for Human Rights, which is based in Venice, and I was able there to establish the first regional master program for human rights and sustainability for Central Asian students. So we're talking about students from Mongolia, from Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and it's particularly challenging in these times where we have wars going on in that area. And one really very positive thing I want to say about this, when we started it last year, we did not expect many applications and support regionally, because these are autocracies, these are countries who try to really push back on human rights. And yet we had a record number of applications. So what I want to say here at this stage, that in the higher education field, university level, the appetite for human rights among scholars of all disciplines is very high. It remains high despite the sort of the backlash or the pushback almost of human rights and human rights education. And again, I'm wondering whether the slide could be shown. I don't know who's in charge of the slides, but
I'm sorry, we are trying to take back our screen share, and it will. Yes, we got some help. Okay. We apologize for that.
Yeah, don't worry. Well, I'll improvise if that is not possible. That's okay. And if time allows, I would like to say a few words and echo also what Alex at the beginning said about the critical approach to human rights, which is absolutely necessary today to also reach out to a young academic audience and students around the world. And I have seen this over the past year, teaching human rights, particularly in an international environment, in a multicultural environment, in a cross-cultural environment. And no matter where the students come from and no matter what religious background the students have, when you start with sort of a critical approach and combine human rights, international human rights law, international human rights norms, with a purpose, with a reasoning for what human rights are for and how they can fix problems, how they can provide opportunities. This is a photo actually from the current student in Bishkek in Central Asia studying human rights. And again, the first crowd that ever participates in a program like this. And yes, with this, I leave it here. Thank you very much again. Deeply honored, very, very happy about this. And I will pass it on to the students in Bishkek, actually, the ones you see here on the photograph and my colleagues. It's 3 o'clock in the morning for them there. So they, I asked them they should stay home. They should not join at 3 o'clock in the morning, but I will pass it on. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for everyone, all the students out there who are joining us. And also thank you to Anja and Christina for those amazing presentations. Truly amazing work. Next, we're going to move into some updates within HRE USA and some of our future human rights work and events. So first, I'm going to give an update on the podcast. So our podcast is called Human Rights Education Now, and we interview human rights professionals and educators worldwide. Here are just some quick updates on the progress we made. Over 600 downloads, which we just reached actually a couple days ago, which is super exciting. So next, we're going to show just a little video about the podcast and what exactly it is.
Podcast Human Rights Education Now aims to inform a broader audience in the U.S. and internationally about human rights education stories, practices, related issues, and theories, while engaging individuals, groups, and organizations in changing the conversation around rights in the U.S. by applying a human rights education lens. Join us each month as we feature conversations with scholars, activists, teachers, students, and others involved in the worldwide movement to raise awareness and advance human rights education in the United States, while promoting its inclusion as a central element of K through university education. Our audience is anyone involved or interested in advancing human rights in the U.S., from institutional to grassroots settings, and from educators and students in traditional learning spaces to human rights professionals in various non-traditional settings. You can find the podcast on the HRE USA website at www.hreusa.org, through the Buzzsprout platform, Human Rights Education Now, BUZZSPROUT.com, and on Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Player FM, Overcast, and Deezer, as well as for MP3 file download. This podcast is supported by the Center for Transformative Action, HRE USA's fiscal agent, and an independent 501c3 organization affiliated with Cornell University that assists change makers in creating communities that are ecologically sound, socially just, and work for everyone.
Also, just want to give a quick shout out to everyone who's been working on the podcast. Christy, Bill, Sabrina. Bill's actually the one talking right in the background of the video. He's our current host. But in the 2024 year, we are looking for a new host. So if you are interested, please feel free to email me. Next, we're going to transition into an update on the humanist issue by Rutgers students and faculty that surrounds transnational connections and human rights. So I'm going to hand it off to Neela and Hunter.
Thank you so much, everyone. It's an honor to be here today, and congratulations to all the amazing award winners, in particular, all the young next generation inspired and globally engaged young citizens. It's really amazing. We want to thank everyone for this opportunity. My name is Nella Navarro, and I'm the Associate Director and the Director of Education at the Center for the Study of Genocide and Human Rights at Rutgers University, the State University of New Jersey, which is, I'm happy to say, Bill's one of his academic homes. Again, Bill, it's just an amazing honor to be on this call with you. We are really delighted to have this be our soft launch, and it is an extraordinary opportunity and honor for us to be in partnership with HRE USA. This is a joint edition. I want to especially thank Christy and Elizabeth. There's so many others, and of course, Hunter, who's going to introduce himself in a few moments, and Amanda at Amanda Smallfuss, Hunter Metz. These are the young folks who are along with many of you on this call and others who have so generously chosen to write about and to think about and honor this very important moment, 75 years. And I'm reminded of how Alana started by telling us that we are in challenging times. And so this is an opportunity for all of you, young people, and for all the educators on the call. We have a soft launch by sharing with you our cover. We are in the process of reading some amazing submissions. And this is also a shameless but happy plug to have, if anyone else wants to submit by 12/11, I'm going to drop our information here in the chat function. And again, we are very honored as a UNESCO chair in genocide prevention to be able to edit and present and share this really important and sustained effort at Rutgers University, the Rutgers Humanist, which is used in all kinds of global contexts. And so I'm going to pass it on to Hunter, who along with Amanda Smallfuss is the editor-in-chief of this edition, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about this edition and also remind you to submit. Thank you again.
Yes, awesome. Okay. Well, thank you so much for everybody. It's been a pleasure and an honor to have a platform to speak about this, and it's been great to see all of the other awardees. It's been really amazing seeing all of the young people, and that's one thing that we like to emphasize in the Humanist, seeing all of the young voices and internationally and transnational connections. So I'm Hunter Metz. I'm a senior majoring in linguistics and minoring in Spanish. And the past semester, I've been working closely with Professor Navarro and interning at the Center for the Study of Genocide and Human Rights. So I'm interning as the chief editor, and along with the help of Amanda Smallfit, who will be supporting us, who will be supporting us in editing. And then next semester, I will be a student associate. This work has been very personal to me, as language rights are human rights, and linguistic rights and human rights have been a nice connection for this work and has been very awesome and fulfilling, and I'm very passionate about it. And it's been a pleasure of reading everybody's articles for submissions for this special 75th edition of the University of Declaration of Human Rights of the Humanist magazine. And again, just reiterating it, hearing all the young voices internationally, it's been really, really amazing. We're still accepting submissions, like Professor Navarro said, until December 11th. So please, 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 if you are thinking about submitting something, that would be lovely if you could submit something. And then we will be having our hard release in January. So this is our soft launch. In all, I'm very, very grateful to have this opportunity to be a part of this project. And yeah, it's just been awesome. And it's been a pleasure to have a platform to speak on. And Professor Navarro will be dropping our, it looks like she already did. Okay, dropping our email. So if you have any questions about submissions, or if you'd like to submit something, please send them our way. Okay, well, thank you so much, everyone.
And special thanks to Amanda for her beautiful design. I can't wait to share with you guys what she has planned for us as our publisher, designer, and co-editor with Hunter. So thank you, Hunter. Thanks again to everyone.
Yes.
HRE, you guys are absolutely amazing and so inspired to see so many people that I truly love and admire. This is a beautiful day, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jake Skripek. I'm the co-chair for the National Council for the Social Studies Human Rights Ed community. I'm also steering committee member of HRE USA. We just want to give a quick shout out. This past weekend, we had a fantastic National Council for the Social Studies conference down in Nashville, Tennessee. We had a number of fantastic human rights ed sessions and opportunities, some events. And we just wanted to highlight a few here. So we had the privilege of introducing Carrie Kennedy from RFK Human Rights as one of the keynote speakers for the conference. She really spoke deeply about the courage we all can tap into in these times of trial that we are going through. In addition, we had other opportunities such as the featuring of local Indigenous dancers and performers featured on these images right here. This was hosted by the Indigenous Ed community at NCSS, a really, really powerful performance and, really celebration of culture and identity. And then in addition, we had hosted HRE USA and Amnesty International, the Nashville chapter, hosted a human rights concert, really entitled Dignity, Freedom, and Justice for All, very connected to the United Nations theme for this year for the UDHR at 75, with a number of local performers perform at the concert. And we're really excited to replicate this in the future at future conferences and other opportunities. So we just want to give a big shout out. Fantastic weekend, a really great kickoff to Human Rights at 75.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jake. And thank you, everybody, for being here. This has been a really, really wonderful program. And it's been so inspiring to hear about all of the work that everybody's doing into just gathering community and celebration today. So on that note, I'm just going to discuss two upcoming events to continue the celebration on the 75th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So this upcoming Saturday, December 9th at Montclair State University in New Jersey, our steering committee member, John Terry, will be hosting an event for protecting human rights, human dignity, and the environment. And additionally, on the other coast in San Francisco, this upcoming Sunday in the afternoon, we will be hosting another celebration on the 75th anniversary of the UDHR. And for this one, you can come in person or there will be a virtual option. So I will drop the contact information for myself and for John Terry to get more information and sign up for these events. And we really hope to see you there to continue uplifting and empowering one another and celebrating 75 years of the UDHR.
Hi, everyone. Hi again. I know I'm incredibly inspired from these so far 53 minutes, and I hope that that's a feeling that we share. And I think especially this time around, what strikes me the most is just the intergenerational work we're all doing. And it's incredible to go through those stages as a youth activist and then coming in the later years as we become mentors. So I want to thank everybody so very much for taking the time to be here. And this is a little bit of a soft closing because we do have one more thing. And but this is my goodbye to everybody. And I'm going to pass the mic over to my co-chair, Christy. And she has some words to share with you and a closing video for everybody. Thank you.
Well, thank all. My heart is so warm right now. I am just so thankful for all of the many people who it took to put this wonderful celebration together. So first, thank you all. I am doing that. Come join us in our Ignite and Unite for Human Rights campaign, our year-end fundraising campaign. We have successfully reached, we're getting closer to our goal of $20,000. But if you are willing and interested in kind of contributing, we'll drop that into the chat to be a part of the family. So thank you so much. You're a part of the family, even if you can't give, but if you're able to even give $5, that will help. And I want you now to see and if you're able to stay on for the Universal Declaration of Human Rights read in multiple languages and by multiple different people across the world. We've always found this to be just a true tribute and launch. So we wish you a happy Human Rights Week, December 10th. We know that a lot of things will be happening. So enjoy yourselves and thank you again for being a part of this. And thanks for the team who put it together.
On December 10th, 1948, the General Assembly of the United Nations adopted and proclaimed the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the UDHR. This declaration guarantees the rights of all people. December 10th is recognized as Human Rights Day worldwide.
The General Assembly proclaims this Universal Declaration of Human Rights as a common standard of achievement for all peoples and all nations, and shall strive by teaching and education to promote respect for these rights and freedoms.
Todos los seres humanos nacen iguales en dignidad y derechos. 다행이죠. 인간하를 씹어있는差別がある지.
任何人不得使为奴隶或奴役，一切形式的奴隶制度和奴隶买卖，均应予以禁止。
المادة الخامسة لا يجوز إخضاع أحد للتعذيب والمعاملة الحاطة بالكرامة.
Todo ser humano tiene derecho en todas partes al reconocimiento de su personalidad jurídica.
모든 사람은 법 앞에 평등하며 어떠한 차별도 없이 법의 동등한 보호를 받을 권리를 가진다. 모든 사람은 이 선언에 위반되는 어떠한 차별과 그러한 차별의 선동으로부터 동등한 보호를 받을 권리를 가진다.
Artículo 8. Toda persona tiene derecho a un recurso efectivo ante los tribunales nacionales competentes que la ampare contra actos que violen sus derechos fundamentales reconocidos por la Constitución o por la ley.
Ningú pot ser arrestat, detingut ni exiliat arbitràriament.
Article 10. Everyone is entitled to a fair and public hearing by an independent tribunal.
Artículo 11. Toda persona acusada de delito tiene derecho a que se presuma su inocencia mientras no se pruebe su culpabilidad, conforme a la ley y en el juicio público en el que se le hayan asegurado todas las garantías necesarias para su defensa.
Article 12. No one shall be subjected to arbitrary interference with his privacy, family, home, or correspondence.
Article 13. Everyone has the right to freedom of movement and residence within the borders of each state.
Ogni individuo ha il diritto di cercare e di godere in altri paesi asilo dalle persecuzioni.
Article 15. Everyone has the right to a nationality. No one should be deprived nor denied the right to change his nationality.
Article 16. Men and women of full age, without any limitation, have the right to marry and to have a family.
Her şahıs tek başına veya başkalarıyla birlikte mal ve mülk sahibi olmak hakkına haizdir.
Każdy człowiek ma prawo wolności myśli, sumienia i wyznania.
Prawo to obejmuje swobodę zmiany wyznania lub wiary oraz swobodę głoszenia swego wyznania lub wiary bądź indywidualnie i razem z innymi ludźmi, publicznie i prywatnie, przez nauczanie, praktykowanie, uprawianie kultury i konstruowanie obyczajów. Artículo 19. Todos tienen el derecho a la libertad de expresión y opinión sin intromisión.
제20조. 모든 사람은 평화적인 집회 및 결사의 자유에 대한 권리를 가진다.
Toute personne a droit à la liberté de réunion et d'association. Nul ne peut être obligé de faire partie d'une association.
Article 21.
Everyone has the right to take part in freely elected government. Everyone should get a vote, and all votes should be equal.
Article 22. Everyone has the right to Social Security, indispensable for his dignity and the free development of his personality.
Article 23. You have the right to work and to get a salary that allows you to live and support your family.
Article 24. Everyone has the right to rest and leisure, including reasonable limitation of working hours and periodic holidays with pay.
Article 25. Everyone has the right to a standard of living adequate for the well-being of himself and his family.
Artículo 26. Todos tienen el derecho a la educación. La educación se orientará al pleno desarrollo de la identidad humana y a la consolidación del respeto de los derechos humanos.
Education will help me build my own personality.
We belong in the same classroom as everybody else, not segregated from everyone.
If we need help, we get help.
Just because we have a disability doesn't mean we can't reach our full potential.
Artículo 27. Toda persona tiene el derecho a tomar parte libremente en la vida cultural de la comunidad.
Article 28. Everyone is entitled to a social and international order in which the rights and freedoms set forth in this declaration can be fully realized.
Article 29. Everyone has duties towards a community within which his personality can fully develop. The law should guarantee human rights.
Article 30. No society and no human being in any part of the world should act in such a way as to destroy the rights that we have just shared.
Thank you everyone for staying on for that final video. And I think someone wrote it gives them chills every time they see it. And it definitely is something. We've been showing it for a few years now. So thank you again, everybody, for joining us.
Thank you, everyone.
Great work. Inspiring.